Good morning, everybody. This is Robert Phoenix broadcasting you live from Fredericksburg, Texas. What's going on? What's happening as we move into the 4th of July vector, the 4th of July portal, the 4th of July holiday, also formerly known as Independence Day, since it appears that yet another day has been replaced, at least the meaning or the definition, the label that we've come to know the day by. Independence Day is now lovingly known as 4th of July. How about that? 4th of July, no longer Independence Day. So I'm just getting ready to move across platforms here. I see we have the test pattern still beaming. There I am. Now you can see me in all the glory here. Let's go see what's happening in the chat room. There's Brandon. Howdy, Brandon. Howdy. Howdy, Brandon. Here we go. And there's Judy. Good morning, Judy. Here we are. Good morning. Yeah, running a little bit behind today. Had a lot on the old plate. A lot of programming for today's show. There's a lot to talk about. I'm just waiting for the stream to connect over to the YouTube side of things. I can see now there's Isla, there's Sophia, also known as Shoes. Good morning, BB. What's happening? What's going on? Not part of the scheduled broadcast, but I may as well talk about it while we go through the various stream connections. Another player for the California Angels, Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim Angels, whatever name they go by, another Angels player died. It was yesterday. Young guy by the name of Tyler Skaggs, 27 years old. I guess Tyler Skaggs can be a part of the 27 club. The Angels have a very strange history of players dying. Very odd. The last player that died was a guy by the name of Nick Adenhart, who was a pretty solid player for them. And Nick was, I believe, a pitcher, if I'm not mistaken. I did a big post on Nick Adenhart when he passed away. It was shocking, really shocking. But he's not the only one, though. There was a guy by the name of Donnie Moore who used to play with the Angels, and he threw a home run ball in a playoff game against the Baltimore Orioles, and Dave Henderson hit this home run, and the Orioles wound up going to the World Series, and the Angels did not. Donnie Moore was so disconsolate over that pitch and that home run that he later killed himself. Then they had another guy by the name of Lyman Bostock, who was a pretty good player, and Lyman died at an early age too. Angels dead players. Let's just go through the list here. This should be kind of interesting, or at the very least give you something to think about. So here we go. This is the list of players from the Angels who have died, and they're all under 35 years of age. Luis Valbuena, he's 33. He was an Angels player. He died. Nick Adenhart was killed in a car crash in Fullerton, California in 2009. Then we have Lyman Bostock, who I was talking about, signed a big free agent contract, and Lyman Bostock was fatally shot. Case of mistaken identity. Terrible. Mike Miley, another player. He was 23 years old for the Angels, killed in a car accident. 1974, Bruce Heinbeckner died in a head-on collision. He was 23, another Angel. Chico Ruiz, an infielder, killed in an automobile accident in San Diego. So you have Chico Ruiz, and they didn't have Donnie Moore in here as well. So Tyler Skaggs, Luis Valbuena, Nick Adenhart, Lyman Bostock, Chico Ruiz, Mike Miley, Bruce Heinbeckner. Crazy stuff with the California Angels. So, I don't think this has anything to do with it, but the Angels are owned by Disney Corporation. And before that, they were owned by Gene Autry. And I was trying to do some astrology around this. I was trying to find when the Angels were purchased. Now, Gene Autry purchased the name and the minor league club from the O'Malley family, who owned the Dodgers. And the Los Angeles Angels were a team in the Pacific Coast League, but they go back all the way to the late 1890s, and they were called the Seraphs, S-E-R-P, S-P-R-A-F-P-H-S, the Seraphs, as in seraphim. So they've long had a name associated with angels. And I'm wondering, in this case, if we're dealing with more like fallen angels than actually divine angels. Gene Autry sold the team, I think, back in the 80s, like the late 80s, to commemorate the purchase of the team. Disney did a remake of a movie called Angels in the Outfield. So Disney has owned the Angels since Autry sold them. And Autry was kind of an interesting character. He was a big star. Gene Autry was a really big star. He was a big cowboy star. Him and Roy Rogers were kind of like the dueling cowboys. And Gene, I believe he had a horse named Trigger, right? He's also a Freemason, very high-ranking Freemason, and he was very instrumental in the Alcoholics Anonymous community, because I think Autry went into AA because he had a drinking problem. So he's certainly connected. Autry is connected to Freemasonry, but that's not uncommon for baseball. There are a lot of baseball players who are Freemasons. Pete Rose's father was a Freemason. Willie Mays is a Freemason. Ty Cobb was a Freemason. So if you look at the field itself, it's a Freemasonic field. You can see the compass and the square embedded inside the baseball diamond. And you can also get into a lot of the numbers with baseball. It's all sacred geometry, 9s, 3s, and 7s. It's a very unusual sport. And as I've noted before, all the stadiums are angled towards the northeast. All the major league stadiums face towards the northeast. So they're all facing literally towards Mecca and the Kaaba. So baseball is definitely a compass and a square sport. I don't know how baseball is going to fare in the years to come. I just don't. Like right now, they're trying to make it an international game. Steve and Chris. Steve is a really big baseball fan. Steve's a big Yankees guy. He must be loving this season. I'm a huge baseball fan. It's the first sport I fell in love with. I wish the game was a little bit different. I wish they didn't have some of these, a lot of the metrics and the shift. The shift is terrible. I don't want to get into too much sports stuff. Good luck to talk about. But innocence is a drag is today's theme for today's show. And baseball does have a sense of innocence. It's a sense of innocence, right? And one could make a case. It's very unusual now. Very unusual, this death of this young man, Tyler Skaggs. Baseball was America's sport for a very long time. And then football came along and sort of displaced it. And, whatever. It is what it is. Football is a massive product. Massive industry. But here we are, we are leaning into the 4th of July, and then we have a very unusual death. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the cause of death. It's not an accident. It's not an automobile. It happened right here in Texas, and it They canceled the game yesterday. The Angels were supposed to be playing the Rangers. And I'm not saying, okay, that this was a ritual sacrifice, but the timing is very unusual, right? I mean, here we are, we're kind of leaning into the eclipse cycle, which starts tomorrow. Baseball's America's pastime. We're in Independence Day. You know, it's just an odd kind of confluence. And of course, the owner of the Angels happens to be Disney, and we know the baggage that Disney packs. And it's not pretty. It is not pretty. So it's just a very strange event as we move into the 4th of July. It sort of casts a pall over Major League Baseball and theoretically could actually be part of this deeper eclipse cycle that we're now clearly in, right? We are clearly in the eclipse cycle. And in fact, today is it, right? Tonight is it. So it happened right on the eve of the eclipse. Just out of curiosity, let me just check. Let me check what sign he was. I'm curious. Tyler Skaggs. Let's see. Died July. He's a Cancer. So his birthday would have coincided 3 days with the next eclipse cycle. Wow. So he's a Cancer. Went to Santa Monica High School. That's found dead in North Texas hotel. Wow. Guy's married. He's got a, mother and father. How come this is not happening? Here, hold on. Oh man. So I just keep seeing the please stand by thing here. I don't know why this is going on like this. Play. I don't know why this is happening. I cannot see my image on YouTube. I'm going to have to refresh the screen, see what happens. Give me a sec here. Okay, there I am. I can't, yeah. These people at YouTube, man. Anyway, it's a very unusual story, event, and he's smack dab in the middle of this eclipse cycle, born July 13th. Anyway, that's how we're going to start off today's show, and it's going to get a little darker and a little more perverse. So why don't we start with another sports story, this one about the desecration. So today's show is Innocence is a Drag. Now, I am not always, I think innocence is important. In fact, even Putin, right? Even Putin is now saying, why don't we just let these kids grow up and just be kids? Putin, again, is angling himself to be kind of the more American than most Americans. And Putin is just trolling. He's trolling the U.S. right now. He's trolling whoever Putin is or whatever Putin is. I have no idea. I don't think anybody really does. Mary Sue asked me what my thoughts on Putin were. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the guy seems to play a role where he's the opposite of the woke media, the leftist fifth column in this country, but that could all just be part of the Russian demoralization plan. It's really interesting to go, oh, look at him. He's got American values. These are values that we can relate to. We don't know. We don't know. He could just be trolling the entire operation. The whole idea is to demoralize Americans. Yuri Bezmenov talked about this. And I don't think that plan has ever abated. I think the demoralization program is still happening. Okay? It's still happening. But I do agree with Putin that kids should be kids, right? Kids should be kids. Let them be kids. That's what I think. I think they should be kids. And I agree with him. Innocence is something that needs to be fostered because, let's be clear, innocence will end. Life happens, right? I had a client yesterday, really cool guy. I was looking at his chart and I said, so what happened to you between the age of like 15, 16, and then 17? Like, because his Chiron was at 16, Gemini in the 11th house. What happened to you there? Did something happen to you with a friend or something? Did something go down with a friend of yours? He said, when I was 17, a friend of mine died. Okay, there it was, is in the chart. And that's a loss of innocence. You see, life will happen. You lose a pet, a friend dies, you move, you bring flowers to a so-called girl, right? And she likes you, and then the next day you see her walking hand in hand with another boy. I mean, stuff like that happens. Or a different boy, not another boy. She'd be a girl, right? Different boy. Stuff like that happens. And the puncturing of the bubble of innocence happens. It happens. But to force feed it and to accelerate that break is completely, I think, uncalled for. And really, for young men, I think their innocence ends when they're circumcised. It ends when they're circumcised. They get circumcised, and I believe it's a traumatic ordeal, and I believe it interrupts the biology and the development of the endocrine system, and basically leads people into, I think, a system of control. Men into a system of control. They're dominated. It's like boom, boom. Here you go. You've been marked, been cut. All right, so I'm going to show you a few images here that are going to be a little bit disturbing for you. Let me go back. Let me do the sports thing, and then I'm going to go into the other stuff. So Colin Kaepernick, he's back in the news. Remember this guy? I used to like Colin Kaepernick. I thought he was interesting, although he has a Sun-Pluto conjunction in Scorpio, has an Aries moon, if I remember correctly, Mercury in Libra, so he tries to be wokety woke. So Colin Kaepernick has come out because Nike has created a shoe. It's a Betsy Ross shoe. Now, I'm going to show you the shoe, and I have some thoughts about this. Here's the shoe that Nike created. Looks like it could be a woman's shoe. Why did Nike create this shoe? Why did they do that? You can see the Nike swoosh in there. Of course, that's a symbol of Saturn. Why did they create this shoe? Nike has been promoting woke athletes. Serena Williams, Colin Kaepernick, anybody that is quote unquote woke. It's part of their corporate ethos now. Why did they create this shoe? I'll tell you why I think they created that shoe. I think they created that shoe because they knew that Colin Kaepernick was going to say, that shoe is a symbol of racism. I don't think Nike had any real desire to manufacture that shoe. It is so against their brand. I think it was a volley and a slam. That's volleyball terms. It's like a set, and a slam. You set it, and then Colin Kaepernick spiked it over the net. I don't think Nike had any intention of ever manufacturing that shoe. I think they manufactured that shoe precisely for Colin Kaepernick to do what he did, because they're paying him a ton of money. They paid him a lot of money to have that stupid-ass commercial about risking everything. This country is not perfect. No country in the world is perfect. None. But Colin Kaepernick and Megan Rapinoe and a lot of the athletes that want to, rub this country's face in a pile of excrement have benefited from being in this country. They've benefited from being here. Colin Kaepernick made a shitload of money playing American frickin' football, okay? Megan Rapinoe is making a lot of money playing football. F-U-T-B-O-L football. A lot of money. And she's in Europe and she's kicking balls around on American taxpayers' dimes. And the disrespect for that process. You can have a bone to pick with the country. Right? You can have a bone to pick with the country. That's okay. But at least admit that the country gave you something. My God, if they've been born in some other country, forget about it. You know, forget about it. Colin Kaepernick was born, if I'm not mistaken, he was born in the 80s, just, you know, post-Soviet Russia. Try being born in that part of the world. Try being born in China, Colin Kaepernick. Megan Rapinoe, why don't you go play for the Chinese team and pull your shit? You know what happened? They'd harvest your organs like that. And they would get big money for your organs because they're athletic organs. They're probably in great shape. You know what the Chinese do? Do you know how Chinese deal with dissidents? You know what they do? They take them and they stick them in vans, and they take bands and they lock them down, and they harvest their organs live on the way to the airport. That's what they do. Because they don't want any kind of anesthetic or anything running through those organs. And then they take the organs and they put them in cold storage and they ship them out. That's what they do. If you're a dissident in China, a really bad dissident, that's what happens. Could you imagine getting those organs? Holy crap. Oh, Mr. McIntyre, Mrs. McIntyre, we have wonderful news. We just got a liver for your husband. Can you believe it? It was a miracle. It was a total miracle. It just came through. And the liver is like, you know, from Chen Wen, who was a Falun Gong protester. Now your husband's going to get this liver that has been shocked and terrified. I'm being a little bit graphic today. Today's going to have some graphic images associated with the show. But try that in China and see what happens. See what happens. I don't think Nike had any desire whatsoever to make this shoe commercial. None whatsoever. They wanted to make that shoe so Colin Kaepernick could crap on it. And he could be, again, they consulted him. He's on their payroll. He's got to earn his money. They had no plan ever to manufacture that shoe. What did they have? They got a press opportunity. It's on TMZ, and the Twitter army is going, yeah, yeah. Okay. Shifting gears now, because I've got about 14 minutes left in the show. I got a jam. Everybody who's familiar with drag queen story hour at the libraries. Okay, so now they're not just reading to kids. Oh no. No. They're not just reading to kids. Now all of a sudden, they've become touchy-feely with the kids. Check this out. Here we go. Drag story hour. Oh, I love it. You got two kids on there. It's a threesome, right? Oh my God! I mean, people say, "Oh my God, how can you say that? How can you say that? How can you say that's a three?" Got two kids on there. This is from the Multnomah Library in Oregon, Multnomah County. This is Lake Oswego, Portland, that whole area. Of course. These parents. Ugh. So now we're not just reading to kids. The drag queens aren't just reading to kids stories about my other dad. Now they're encouraging kids to come lay on top of them. By the way, this is L. Ron Hubbard. his kid did a memoir of him and talked about. I got more images, by the way. L. Ron Hubbard's kid did a memoir, and he talked about one of the things that L. Ron Hubbard did. And L. Ron Hubbard, one time, was lying naked in his office, and he brought a woman in to lie naked as well. And Hubbard laid on top of her. Okay? Laid on top of her. He didn't do anything. He did not do anything. He was not trying to grope her. He was not trying to penetrate her. Nothing. You know what he did? He just laid there. And this woman at some point felt like she was losing her mind. And that L. Ron Hubbard was trying to just suck her soul right out of her. It was an occult practice. It was an occult technique. And I'm not saying this is one, but man, come on. You gotta be kidding me. You think, okay, there's more. Here we go. Oh, gee, isn't this wonderful? Carla Rossi. Isn't this wonderful? Oh, I get to lay on top of this big, big pillow of a wonderful comic book, cartoony character. Look at the look on that face. Look, he's like, I've got your kids. I've got your kids. Look at that. Oh, is this hateful? I don't approve of it. I don't approve it. You know what? Here we go. I would approve it if that was somebody who was just laying down and wasn't even dressed as a drag queen. I would not want my kid on some freaking stranger, drag queen or not, okay? YouTube, if you're watching this and listening, I don't want any kid sitting laying on top of an adult that I don't know at story hour. Give me a break. And then, if you want to go next level, throw drag queen on top of it. Okay, yeah, I'm doing that. I don't want any kid laying on top of an adult that they don't know. It's a bad precedent. And then you throw on the drag queen clown getup, and there you go. It's not good. It is not good. You want more? How about this? Well, they're not really on top of it, but hey, let's give everybody boas. Look, I believe this is a boy. Who knows? Yeah, they're kind of like moving the boy into this. Oh, yeah, I think he's going to be trans. I think he's going to be trans. I think he's going to be trans. I get that feeling. You know, we're talking about hormone replacement. We're talking to therapists. You know, we're really trying to understand what the best course of action is. We're meeting with some very, very credible people. You know, we're talking to some other parents who are going through the same thing. And, you know, we have a wonderful support group. And we just want to be really sensitive to, you know, what our children are going to evolve to. You know, we really want to be sensitive to that. You're fucking grooming your kids. You're grooming your kids. That's what's happening. Your kids are being groomed. They're being groomed. Whoops, sorry. Sorry about that. They're being groomed. It's not some spontaneous, it's called epigenetics. They are being environmentally morphed. Okay, I think they should allow themselves to be kids. I think their innocence should prevail. This is not innocent. This is not innocent. This is not innocent. It is not innocent. Those are images of children who are being corrupted. I'm sorry if you can't get the message. If you think I'm hateful, there are other YouTube channels out there. Okay? They're being corrupted. Now, just to show you that I'm fair, I'm going to show you another model of innocence because I think it cuts both ways. Okay? It cuts both ways. Let me show you this. So here's this little gal, right? The mini AOC. Every time I plan a visit to the park, it's closed. Can everyone see how sad this makes me? She also does the Ruth Bader Ginsburg stuff. Okay, you think, oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that cute? You know, she was definitely cute as kind of the one-off on the AOC side. Right here, this is her Twitter page. You can't see this, but her mother books her. Her mother is booking her to appear at parties. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. It's kind of like that kid, Desmond. She's like a different version of Desmond. She's like a more, I don't know, right, conservative. It's like, oh, isn't she great? Oh, we love her. Fantastic. Oh, what a smart kid. What a smart kid. No, she's being exploited by her parents. Just like the other kids are being exploited by special interest groups. Nobody should hire that girl to be involved in some kind of corporate or community event. I'm sorry. I'm not in favor of it. Just because she mocks Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't make it right. Like a one-off is interesting. Now, Soph is different. Soph is, what, 15 years old? Like, you know, the afterburners are on, and that young gal. But, you know, and these are kids that are born under Pluto and Capricorn, and they're growing up really fast, really, really fast. They're going to be a very, very different kind of generation, these kids. They are not Gen Z. They're going to be, who knows, man. We're going to run out of letters in the alphabet to describe that generation. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about, you know, the story hour? What do you think about the mini AOC, Innocence, etc.? What do you guys think about it? Not cute to put lipstick on a girl that young, exception Halloween. Right? Feels like Monday-itis on steroids. Well, it is 10 degrees of Cancer. A lot of astrological definitions. Oh my God, Nestor.com people have started pimping out their kids for all kinds of stuff. I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. This eclipse feels weird. I woke up pretty tired today. Wonder if those are the children of gay parents. Could be. The left defend child abusers, make lots of jokes about it. There's a place waiting for them. The parents have been protesting, but snipers were put in place to stop them. That's right. Absolutely. Tyler Skaggs was a Cancer too. That's right. He was a Cancer. Yep. Yep. I'm just not down with it. I'm not down with that kid being this. I'm just not down with it. Yeah, it was funny. It was, you know, for a while. Interesting little video. Just move on with your life. You know, don't make your career out of it. What do you plan on doing? You plan on being on Fox, getting a gig on Fox? I'm not in favor of it at all. Not in favor. All right. Tanya says, it feels like something awful is just lurking around the corner. No difference, Desmond, AOC, small person. I agree. I totally agree. There's no difference. Just because she's in the political wing that makes fun and mocks the enemies or the scourge of the Conservative Party, I don't endorse it at all. And I don't endorse the beauty pageants, the dance moms, the beauty queen. I don't endorse any of it. None whatsoever. None. And look, I was involved in sports. I coached my kid, for 5 seasons, 5 teams. And I thought I was a pretty good coach. I wasn't perfect. I learned a lot along the way. I loved the players, you know, and there were times when, I had to learn some hard lessons. It's a very intense pressure cooker environment, especially in Texas. I had to learn some difficult and hard lessons. Uh, I had this one. Oh, God, I'm almost out of here. I got to do this. I'll bring this up tomorrow. We'll do this tomorrow. I just got to show you guys this. A broadcast isn't right without a Jean Carroll. Trump accuser Jean Carroll makes explosive confession about what she did to former Fox News CEO. You guys got to hear this, man. It is just, this woman's nuts. Absolutely nutso. Where is she? Trump. So, advice columnist Jean Carroll, the latest woman to accuse President Donald Trump of sexual misconduct, admitted in a recent interview with Vanity Fair that she once sexually harassed former Fox News chairman Roger Ailes. At the time of the harassment, Carroll hosted a show on TV network America's Talking. The predecessor to MSNBC, Ailes was president of the network. Oh, I did it every day I had a chance, she admitted, of sexually harassing Ailes. I called him the pearl of his sex. Right on the air, I roll up my trouser legs. I would wait for the camera to come over, then I would slowly pull up the right, then the left trouser leg. It would say Roger Ailes. I would say, he's my future husband. It never stopped. I'd ask him to twirl for me. My God. She went on The View and got into an argument, and she was defending my vision of the word rape being filled with sexual imagery. This woman is absolutely great comic relief. What would we do without Jean Carroll? Thank you, Jean Carroll. Thank you for being on the scene and showing us the absolute and utter hypocrisy of your position, the unintentional comedy, and the fact that you're batshit crazy and the media is there to support you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Unconditionally. And in a weird, quirky way, I kind of even like her because she's demented and authentic. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for being a part of today's broadcast. Hang on, the eclipse energies are coming. I'll be back tomorrow. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to save what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Have yourself a great, great day.